Hi, everybody. If you are just logging in, you are coming to the right place. Today is going to be a free webinar on 10 ways to use data to transform your digital marketing and drive business growth. We're going to be looking at very specific things you can do once you're able to see your data in a unified platform in a new light. It is going to inspire you to do many things to improve your digital marketing and therefore your business. So we're just going to wait one more minute until we get started. We have a lot of people that are still joining. If you've joined us, feel free in the chat to let us know where you are coming from. We actually have a very international audience today. In fact, our special guest, Emma Russell, is going to be calling in from Australia, where it is at a very undecent hour of the day. Philadelphia. Awesome, Chris. Thank you and welcome. I am in Irvine, California, in sunny, well, not so sunny Orange County these days, but in Southern California. Where is everybody else chiming in from? Do we have any other people joining us from Australia, maybe Europe? Or is everybody still waking up? Okay. Well, without further ado, then, we will get going into the actual webinar. So, some housekeeping notes to begin with, because these are questions that we commonly get asked when we do these webinars. Yes, the webinar is being recorded. You will get access to it. You're going to get access to a link to be able to view the video for 30 days after this webinar ends. You're going to get that link tomorrow sometime before end of day. So if you have to go for whatever reason, feel free to log out. I will say, though, you'll probably want to stick around until the end because there are some special offers that we have prepared for you all today. But if you need to go, you will be able to get access to that recording. Also, well, in addition to letting us know where you're from, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. You could also try the Q&A tab. I'll be looking at both of them. I know last time I did this, the Q&A tab did not work, so that's why I say chat. But whether it's chat or Q&A, we will get to those answers during the conversation. We actually hope to have 10 to 15 minutes at the end of the webinar for any additional questions. Oh, chat is disabled. That's not good. Well, we just had someone log into the chat, so not sure what the problem is. If chat is disabled, then you'll probably want to type your questions into the Q&A tab. Kristen, I thank you for that information. And today's speaker. So I am the gentleman on the right, Neal Schaffer. I am a fractional CMO, digital marketing speaker, author, consultant, and it is really an honor and a privilege to introduce you today's guest, who is on my left on the screen, Emma Russell. So in my work in digital marketing, I run into a lot of technology, a lot of tools, a lot of apps, and I'm always looking for things that can help my customers and really help my community to improve their digital content influence or social media marketing. It is very rare that I run into someone that is as passionate about digital marketing, analytics, and ROI as I am. And that person is not only Emma, but she has actually built a company that does exactly that in an easy-to-use dashboard. So without further ado, Emma, I am going to hand the virtual mic over to you, and you can get started with your presentation.
Fabulous. Thank you for that lovely introduction, Neal, and thank you for everyone for joining. I am passionate about it, I think, because I was a marketer by discipline, so I absolutely know what I wish I had as a marketer. And then leading into technology leadership, like, it makes you so passionate about solving the problem that I think every business has. So just by way of introduction, not just by background of myself, Digivisor, who's a partner of Neal Schaffer, is everything we do is we're committed to help businesses of any size grow and be successful. And our focus is all about helping you make the best decisions possible in digital marketing in the most cost-effective way. So that's that focus on that ROI, but actually helping you be the best data-driven digital marketer to get that outcome. And today I'm bringing a lot of insights and case studies from the brands that we've worked with. Many of them are global. We are an Australian company, but we've always had a global focus. We're a top agency, tech, an ad partner to all the major social search and web platforms. So we are sitting on an amazing amount of data that we're making meaning and being able to share today those insights. Specifically where we focus, and we think this is the challenge and why you've joined us today, it's what you know, that customers are engaging everywhere. They're on multiple devices. Mobile's such a big part of the way that they operate. So understanding their needs and understanding what's performing can be quite time consuming. Information often is held only by a few in your organisation or in your agency, and you don't have this at the key times when you're trying to make decisions. And so information is often delivered late to the decision makers. I've seen in large organisations where reports come 2 months after an end of a quarter when the next quarter is already live, and that's like the problem for those managers that are actually trying to plan and get the best out of their budget. So we focus on making sure it's really easy to understand what's that cost of lead, the cost of sale, how do you know what matters to your customers, how do you know what is working, what is that ROI in your digital spend, and what do I do next? So we're going to go into 10 tips, but I thought it might be good just to start some foundation things that sit sort of above this, just really simple tips before you spend a cent, the most important things you can think about. So before we start, it's just really about understanding and being very, having high specificity around your target market and personas and geolocation, because we're generally constrained with budgets. Nearly everybody is, and also time, our resources, but definitely our budget. So the more targeted you can be around who you're going after, the more you can understand about those personas, and the more targeted you can be in your geolocation, the more likely you can create a multi-touch campaign. Neal and I were just talking just ahead of this about, you know, the up to 15 or beyond touch points that it takes to convert someone, to take them from not knowing you to actually interested and actually buying from you. So you need to build that into your budgets, and targeting matters most. Understanding this concept of the jobs to be done. So people, when they have a need, and search is really around this, is they search for the job to be done. They're not searching for your product, they're searching for a solution to their problem, to their pain point. So understanding the job that they're trying to do and making sure you answer that. So having that real understanding of what are they actually trying to do, because often your solution or what you're offering is actually, it does solve their pain point, but the language might not align. So really getting close to that understanding of the job to be done and making sure your creative supports that. And then ensuring that you're where they are in all stages of the journey. So I'll talk a little bit today about the digital funnel, but of course it's a customer journey. They're empowered, they choose to multi-touch. And so making sure you're there where they are means understanding the platforms that they're on at different parts of those stages, and making sure you're testing all that part of that funnel, that customer journey. And if we do the inverse, what is the biggest errors people make in marketing? It's spray and pray. So generally no multi-touch journey, thinking you've got one great creative and then just trying to reach as many people as possible, leaving that to the algorithms, even though they, they are stronger in terms of the platform's algorithms to find your audiences. It can spend your money faster than what you can get a better return from by being more targeted, having your messaging much closer to your customer. Other big mistakes we see is that brands talk too much about themselves and they talk at the customer. Social general is actually a real engagement platform. It's a conversation, and you have to earn your interest, you have to earn your engagement, you have to earn your purchase. And so that means when you're interrupting them, when they're actually there for different purposes, ensuring that that's going to be a great experience, like you're actually entertaining them, but you're sharing how you can help them in an entertaining way. And then don't connect touch points. Our third area is where people don't connect the touch points together to form a journey. So spend too little, too broadly, and make decisions without data or insights, and not seeing this journey that you need to create, where you really are taking someone from not knowing you through that consideration journey and out through to conversion. So because I'm going to be digging deep into tips, just wanted to leave this, and this might be a useful tool. What we know is the most effective B2B playbook, taking an account-based marketing approach. So actually that targeted, who are you going after specifically, named accounts, ideally, that you can have as your research that you've done or lists that you might have built through Sales Navigator, but having that targeted approach, aligning that to your sales organization. But then B2B playbooks that work the most effectively and drive the greatest conversion. Start with thought leadership with your C-level at the top. So person-to-person engagement, people do business with people. Video and person-to-video works best at top of funnel. That builds awareness. It's also your lowest cost top of funnel activity, but video is the most effective. And then that consideration, that multi-touch, lots of different types of content that's demonstrating your expertise, your relevance, your generosity in the guides and tips that you give, but also the case studies and testimonials that establish your credentials. And of course, at the bottom of the funnel, having then, because you've now earned and they've been interested along the way, and because they've touched that content along the way, then you can offer whatever the conversion is. So that's the B2B model that we recommend. From a B2C, video still way at the top. Video actually through each stage of the funnel is most effective, we're seeing. So as you go from maybe a beautiful, more inspirational video at top of funnel, you are then still trying to overlay in the consideration phase things that inspire them, you know, the jewelry, in this case, this is a jewelry brand, but like the types of jewelry that they would be inspired to buy, influencers who are wearing that jewelry. So again, that validation, that third party, you know, integrating testimonials. And you can do that with video and carousels and different forms of, you know, multi-tier content. And then when you're in that conversion stage, giving them, and this has been based, Google's done a pretty strong study on the behavioral science, like by giving a reason. So what is your reason for buying now? Is it free shipping? Is it a $10 off? Is it, and often this is what also helps you collect first party data. Like they'll exchange their email to get the gift, that enables you to continue to market to them offline, as well as now you know them online. But then you can also use your retargeting about what they may have considered in there. But that offer helps you close that. So we're just going to start there. I'm now going to go into the, this is just the broader model, which I think is useful again. And this was designed just as a overview of foundations before we get to the tips. What you're ultimately looking to deliver in marketing is to build advocacy. That's your ultimate happy customer, right? The customer that is talking positively to someone else, or your, you know, community that sits around you, your partners that sit around you, your employees that work for you. And so what this model really is suggesting that when you have all of these in play, and these exist in any size of business, right? The more technical experts, evangelists, the fans, that you can activate and build strong community and invite them into to special access points or things that they can actually start supporting you. You'll often see that the best customer support comes from those happiest of customers or fans. Influencers that you can engage that play to their passion area, so wherever your product aligns to them. So engaging them, and we've seen really great partnerships where the technical experts that might not, or fans that don't necessarily have all the influence, partner with those influencers. So influencers can promote the brand, but the technical experts start to answer the questions. And so it's a really nice partnership. And of course, influence likes to be seen to be in partnership with the senior leadership or the CEO of an organization. People follow people, 14 times more likely to share content of a person in an organization or a leader in an organization than the brand. So you want to unlock your senior leadership team, but connect that to the influencers and make sure that they're engaging, as well as the acknowledgement of those fans. And of course, unlocking those partners and advisors and employees. When you have all of that going on top of your branded content, your social engagement and paid media, this can be one of the most effective content engines in terms of earning media that you can repurpose back into your funnel and actually show that you really are genuinely focused on that customer, and you're able then to influence people in market. There's been lots of research that the most trusted source of referral is someone who says something on social, because it is being held accountable by that person's community, much more than you having a branded testimonial where you've got permission, but because you've styled it, it sits below a genuine someone actually just saying this was their experience, or because they're promoting it. So let's jump into the
Emma?
top tips.
Hey,
Sorry,
Emma,
Neil?
yeah. Before we move on, I mean,
Yeah,
I think if the webinar ended right now,
yeah,
there's already an incredible
yeah,
amount of advice you've already given us. Just curious, so you showed us the B2C, the B2B funnel, the
yeah.
awareness, consideration, conversion, and I think everybody watching the webinar were probably nodding. They're probably already doing that. I'm curious from the Digivisor perspective. I'm assuming that your clients are all doing that as well. What is the weak link that you often
So
find?
I think, Neil, you would assume, right? I think because we've been in marketing, we know that's how to set this up. But when you have a look, and we're talking like brands you would expect to know better, will often not have enough assets in play. Like
Oh,
it's
wow.
like there's two mistakes that generally happen first. The website is not fit for purpose, and where they're driving people doesn't match up to what they're trying to do. But even more so, it's poor content.
Hmm.
So you see it, I mean, you see it in LinkedIn particularly, where a brand is literally leading with one or two assets, and that's it, and expecting to drive conversion. So B2B is definitely behind B2C. You definitely see more examples of B2C doing this, but I would say when you have a look, like because we lead with data, unfortunately there's too many brands out there that may know it but don't put it to play.
Very interesting. Thank you. I'll let you keep going
Yeah,
now.
yeah. No, it was a good question too. So I think the first thing is what we recommend, and we're going to share like how easy that this can be made for you, is actually just starting with the opportunity audit. Where are you now, even against those best tips that we started with? So what's working for you? What content drives outcomes? Digging in a little bit deeper. So I'm just going to show you Digivisor, how easy you make this. So this is connecting all the platforms in, but it doesn't matter what tool you use. The point is, what you want to understand is what is the actual, well, at the highest level, what's happening at your, what's driving your most engagements overall. So which platforms are doing it for you. Seeing when you have your C-level exec, how that's different from, say, the branded piece. But then you want to actually understand in each platform what content is resonating most, and by what engagement. So what objective? So is it engagement? Is it clicks through to website, which might be a completely different set of content? Is it what's giving most video views? And what you'll find is it's different content for each platform. And that's because you're generally attracting different people to those audiences and the way you might tell your stories. And so what's generating the best outcome may be actually quite different. And so that teaches you what is the right content for each of those platforms.
And everybody,
So
if for those that
yeah,
are watching, Emma, I told Emma, let's focus really on the education today. But I think
yeah,
I need to help Emma sell the platform. What you're looking at is the Digivisor platform. If you can go back to the screen, and basically anybody here, there will be a special offer at the end. It basically works by syncing all of your digital properties, your social media. It's all being done through OAuth, through authorization, and then you will be able to see exactly what Emma is showing here for this, sample company. You will be able to see and do the exact same analysis for your company. I think you can see if you can go back to the screen, Emma, where you showed all the different dashboards, all the different channels.
mm,
I think when you're able to see everything in real time in this way, this is really the first secret to be able to unlocking all the insights. So I just wanted to mention I am a certified Digivisor partner. My apologies for not mentioning that at the beginning. So if you run into any problems on this, I can be of help, or if you have any product questions. But Emma, I'll let you keep going there.
no, fantastic. No, thank you, Neil. And I probably should have also done a better intro. But I get the point is get into the content, the creative. It's not enough to just know what the platform is. It's the actual creative and content that you need to understand what's resonating. And you can do that across your organic, your earned, and your paid media. We'll dig a bit deeper into that as we go on. The second thing is, understand what's driving high quality traffic to your website. So it's not enough to know just your total traffic to website. You want to know what's bringing new users. You want to know how effective is your organic versus your paid. what platform is actually driving that, including which referral platform might be driving that for you. What's driving the most goal conversions on your website? So again, that's playing to that quality part of that traffic. How is that changing over time? Because ideally you're also setting goals against this of how you can actually drive that. So again, just from how easy that can be, at least in Digivisor's platform, we're just going into to have a look at what's driving at 99% accuracy, where are new users coming from, for instance, what's actually happening. So I think it's just loading.
Emma, you mentioned 99% accuracy. I just want to confirm because this is not using special like UTM parameter links. This is because you are directly connected to Google Analytics API and you are filtering the results. So sometimes you have social media traffic that is in the referral, or you have paid ads that show up. So you are actually putting the filters on so that you're getting 99% accuracy. Is that correct? So
that's
the user doesn't have
correct.
to do anything.
No one has to do anything. It's just literally you connect your Google Analytics, including your GA4. If you're already set up, it will automatically pull in all data, but it's already transformed. It pulls in your goals, so you are actually able to see your goals, and so you can dig in deep as to where that content is coming from. So it gives you that ability. To the point, like you want to not spend your time collecting data. You want to spend your time doing analysis and making better decisions and creating better content or creative, right? Like is it what you do with this data? So we want to make it super easy for you to find it, but being able to really take that look at what's actually driving that. And that was a research program where we sourced external verification on your own Google Analytics versus once Digivisor had identified all that additional traffic into better scoring. It's really like Google will always favor Google and tell you what's been delivered by Google, but they're less, motivated to show you what's actually happening from all those various social channels. So that's where we've really brought that extra accuracy. Awesome. Tip 3 is about leveraging the opportunities in organic search. So what terms are bringing the most clicks to your website? And this is really important because this is where you start to look at how your customers are using natural language. This helps you understand that jobs to be done that we were talking about. There's a great book, Clayton Christensen, on competing with luck. And he talks about the more you understand that jobs to be done and the way that you work against that, it's a very effective way to actually ultimately win. So keeping in mind the actual terms where you're winning, but then also seeing the opportunity of what's available to you by number of impressions. And so this is a very easy way, again, to see performance over time, where you're ranked, what share are you winning organically, what's available to you in terms of where you're winning today, what's your share, and what might be actual opportunities for you. So I'm going to actually go into some examples and I'll show this, what it looks like live. So this is a jewellery case study in Australia, tiny little jeweller who got hit by COVID, needed to move their business from, at that point, was only walk-in store to an online offering with pre-booked meetings to be able to create custom jewellery. Their average sale is a bespoke ring at around $7,000 to $10,000. So this was, they weren't even sure that online could help. So this was a make or break for this jeweler. What they did have a very strong position around was Australian sapphires, so the biggest Australian sapphire jeweler, and that bespoke jewellery. And so by taking this view, so actually going into platform, so I'm actually going to go to that particular example to show you the outcome of that. So I'm just going to extend that period just to give enough data to make it interesting. So what this brand has been able to do is create 383 bookings in this period of time and $130,000 of online sales for jewellery that actually costs a lot. If we actually have a look quickly, their ROAS. So they've generated. So I don't know what happened. I think the hotel internet just dropped out. I'm back on hotspot. I apologise. Did not expect that.
Thanks everyone for your patience. Emma, we'll get back to the show.
Huge apologies. Oops. So was quickly just sharing using the knowledge of sapphires in terms of how people were actually searching for it. You can actually be very specific around your search terms to be able to see exactly how people are talking about it, what the most available volume is in terms of being able to do that, and then doubling down on, in particular, it was Australian sapphires that we knew that there was a bigger opportunity. And so by this brand using those insights, they were able to, they now own 4% of every click through that goes through in terms of available traffic and driving clicks through. They also own a significant amount of first positions on Google, where they've been able to create their content strategy that supports that. And in particular, you can see here in terms of their top web pages, it's actually, if you look at 298,000 visitors, and we put in Sapphire, they're over half of it connects to their sapphires, which has been built from looking at those opportunities and building their content around being very specific about where they can win, rather than trying to go broader, that they were a jewelry store or engagement rings or something a little bit more broadly. So we ourselves use that. We today, for instance, because we've looked at the way people talk about owned, earned, paid media, that's something our platform does. We've put this same thing to play, where we now get 8% of every Google search that uses those terms, that we organically earn to our website. We hold a number of first positions around that. It actually drives the highest page views to our website, the highest percentage. So it's actually a very simple thing to do. Just look at those search opportunities in natural language, the way people are writing about it, have a look at the volume, have a look at your click-through rate, and then build your content strategy around that, which can actually deliver really great results. So moving on to tip 4, the other thing that you can do when you're in that space is start to have a look at what make your best paid search opportunities. So whilst we go for as many first place positions through that content strategy, looking at those terms, when you get to, say, somewhere position 3 to 5, Google is actually acknowledging you with authority. They're actually giving you 3rd or 5th place, but a first page position out of everything else that exists out there, which suggests that they are seeing enough authority in the way that you talk about that to actually be favoured. And what you find, those terms that sit a bit lower on those pages are your lowest cost ones to put into paid media. And so you can win more of those phrases that are being searched for. You've got the exact phrase that people are searching for, and be able to bump that to the top of your page at a very low cost. So you're actually able to use those same insights, not just to build your content strategy, but actually know what to put to paid. The other thing, which just to add to the tip around that, is a lot of people do start with the larger platforms, but you'll see Bing is continuing to grow from a search platform perspective, and it's driving a lot more traffic than you might even be aware of. And what you'll find is there's a lot less competition around. Again, if you look at those phrases, you'll find that you can win those at a significantly lower cost. So if you have a look at the ease in being able to do this, you'll find it much more likely to get that return on investment by aligning those things. If we move into what we think is tip 5, is identify where you get your best cost per outcome and make sure that's mapped to the customer journey. So this again is, so what we mean by cost per outcome is obviously, like, you've got those different stages of that funnel. So impressions and video views will be at the top of funnel, and, you know, engagements and clicks are in consideration, conversions obviously bottom of funnel. And if you're an e-commerce brand, you'll have a ROAS, return on advertising spend, and you want to know what's actually driving it, and is this up or down, or where your greatest cost per conversion. Obviously makes it easy to report back as well. So again, knowing what's driving that outcome all the way down to the best creative. So I'll again quickly show you how easy that is, but it enables you also to set up the ability to test those different content formats, to work out like where they're going to actually perform best on channel and to which outcome you're looking for. And obviously it's upweight the budgets that are best performing and stop spending where they're not performing. So in that particular example, or even in this particular example, so I'm going to paid. So I can look comparatively, but what's more important, apart from, I mean, I've got the ability to look at, say, conversions against spend and what that trend looks like over time, or conversions against clicks. So you can see those relationships easily. But what's really valuable is actually being able to dig down a little bit deeper into what are the campaigns, ad sets, or the actual creative that is driving the outcome. So if I want to look at what's driving, say, conversions, I can see here that it is Google primarily at the BOFU, bottom of funnel, although we are seeing some TOFU at the top of the funnel, but that's all Google. That's the actual ad that is working, that is bringing those conversions in. So that's actually showing what was the ad that bought it. But when we get into other platforms, we can also actually see what is the creative that's driven that outcome. So that's your ability to be able to look across platform at what is actually driving the outcome. Oops, that's coming straight from platform. Let's see what else. Should just be popping up. Yeah, so you've got that ability, and that's true for everything. So TikTok, whatever platform, LinkedIn, whatever's driving outcome, you'll be able to look at that. And so that's that ability, again, to do that content analysis, what's actually working for you on top of your platform analysis, as well as what's working from what you're targeting in terms of those audiences. So we've talked about organic, we've talked about paid, but I know Neal's very strong on influencers because it's such an effective part of brand in terms of creating evangelists of your product, engaging them to create. You know, often they're much better content creators. You know, they develop very authentic content to reach their audience. It's great content to use back in your own channels. So it can be really effective to make sure that you're actually aware of who's talking about you or using hashtags of interest and identifying who to engage. So I just want to share, again, an example. So I'm going to go to Barilla. And Barilla have a really great strategy where they look at, so again, I'll just give this a bit of data, make it a bit more interesting. We'll go into earned media. So what this is these are people who are creating content. It comes in by highest, best performing content to lowest performing. That's typical from Digivisor. But what we're doing is just identifying who is speaking most about Barilla, who's driving the most engagement. So Chef Tom Walton is an Australian chef. He's creating the best content. We can see what those posts actually are that he's produced for Barilla. But we can also see some other content creators that are also generating some great content, as well as we could be looking at this from who's actually just tagging the brand. And so we might be able to pick up other people who are not necessarily as well known, but are creating beautiful content that can be repurposed and used in their channels. And so Barilla use this to feed about 85% of their content in their organic reflects the content that is generated by influencers and just people who love the brand. And what they do is they identify who's posted something and they thank them by posting out additional product. So for those that aren't being paid to create content, they can still be gifted low cost, you know, a couple of boxes of pasta and you know, maybe the pesto sauce that's just been launched. And so what it does is it creates this engine that's constantly having people create their own recipes and share them. And so that's able to then be repurposed and reused on their channel. But you can actually identify and see, you can actually invite your influencers and track them. So Tom is a paid influencer for Barilla. And so he has accepted, he's been invited into their brand space. And so that means that they can actually see deeply like what content Tom is producing. These are all the influencers that have been invited in. And so when we did look at Tom's content, we can see the same data you would expect that you would see from your own. So you can get that kind of richer data to be able to pull that together as to performance. So that can help you identify the reward.
This is a huge point, that instead of asking influencers for screenshots, they are basically authorizing their social media accounts to be read by Digivisor. So when your customers reach out to influencers, are they okay adding their data to Digivisor? Is there any pushback, or pretty much everybody's on board?
So generally what happens with the brand, so this is for paid influencers, they put it into their contract. So they're like, we'd love to engage you. We're willing to engage you as an ambassador. It will involve, X amount of products, so much potential payment. In return, you'll deliver X, Y, Z. And we'll invite you to be part of this platform. So it kind of like covers off that's the measurement tool, but also the privacy bit. So Barilla don't see Tom's total social. They only see when Tom has tagged Barilla or used their hashtag. That's all they see. And so Tom has his own instance of this. So he gets onboarded the same way as any other customer. He loves it, by the way, because he works with lots of brands. And so he finds this like a super easy way to be able to report back to those brands. But from Barilla's perspective, they know exactly what's going on in terms of what he's been able to produce. And it's across all platforms, right? If he does it on TikTok, if he does it on Instagram, if he does it, like, they're able to have a look at what's actually going on.
Awesome. Thank you.
So tip 7, understand the importance of video and its role in top of funnel and brand awareness. So we've talked a lot about video, and as you said, Neil, a lot of people on this call are marketers and they would know the importance of video. So I just wanted to share 2 things. We did a research project for LinkedIn, and so we were able to actually get those, what are the video benchmarks overall that you could be aiming for. And then what was the sweet spot in terms of the length of video that could be or should be used. And so the drop-off point really sits at 20 seconds, but you want the majority of your content to be delivered in the first 10 seconds. So the shorter the video, the greater the impact. And we were seeing like it didn't change those results in terms of click-throughs, etc. So communicate a lot, right? We're fast at processing. So I think that's just an important thing of like keep them short. Consider YouTube Shorts for easier entry. So again, back to that search, how Google favors like anything you produce, make sure it also goes onto your YouTube channel. Make sure that's been optimized for search in terms of the way that you tag it, etc. But you can also promote through YouTube Shorts, and it's again a really effective way to be able to communicate a lot in that period, matching to whatever has just been searched for. We're also seeing that people talking to camera is most effective. The more natural the video, it wins over like highly produced. We did this research project we did involved looking at whether the video had music, graphics, sound, how much production over the top of, but it was actually just authentic people talking to camera that was most effective. But you can see that generally, if you go to TikTok, that they are the most effective videos that you're seeing as well. And this is now true on all platforms.
Emma, out of curiosity,
on
LinkedIn, this is a topic of great interest to a lot of YouTubers who are also want to share their videos on LinkedIn. Horizontal versus vertical. Was there any, did the study show that one performed better than the other on LinkedIn?
No, no. So interestingly, horizontal won out, but I think it was more the quality of the content in the horizontal than probably, like, I think they needed more vertical formats to be able to draw that as a conclusion. It's a really good question, but actually most brands still use horizontal on LinkedIn. I mean, using up space in LinkedIn in vertical does actually, like, just generally, like even in your posts, will perform better because most people are viewing on mobile and it's actually adapting to that format in feed. So, but vertical, like creating vertical video for mobile for all your, you know, like your stories, reels, you know, TikTok.
Sure.
You really need to think about when you're doing that shoot, like taking it for both formats.
Yeah, I've heard the same with LinkedIn, that actually
Yeah.
horizontal outperforms vertical. Maybe it's because of that more conservative audience that they're probably not on TikTok, and the horizontal maybe they're just more comfortable with. I don't know.
Yeah, but you don't. But anyhow, this study just showed horizontal did outperform vertical. But I'd have to look at what the data points were. But I know it was brands are still working mostly in horizontal on LinkedIn as well.
Thank you. I know you got 3 more points to get through, and we're getting
going to
through.
go.
I want to make sure we have time for
tip
Q&A
8,
at the
leverage
end.
your personal brand, and those of you C-level execs. So I'm just going to share this as a personal example. So I have 40% more followers than Digivisor, but I posted 75% less than them to generate 13% more engagements and 137% more likes and 437% more comments. And the reason, like, I just put that example in is this also has been researched in this LinkedIn research we did with them. Personal brand posts are 14 times more likely to be shared than branded posts, and personal brand posts are 12 times more likely to be engaged with than branded posts. So what you want to do, and the algorithms favor personal posts over branded posts. So what you want to be able to do, and actually in this accelerated over COVID, where there's been a whole shift from consumers wanting to see the values of a company. So they actually do look and hunt down like the CEO, or like what are the people connected to the brand actually saying about their brand when they're making decisions about whether they're going to buy or not. And obviously in B2B, this is absolutely critical because people don't buy from the company, they buy from the people that they're actually committing those funds to, who they think they're building relationships. They want to know what that vision of that company is, or what are the problems that they're solving, the way the future looks like it will unfold, like where is the direction of that company. So it's a really important and easy tip to put to play by just making sure that your budgets do cover, if you can't do it yourself, that you've got support around thought leadership for your senior executives, but you actually are supporting that creation and encouraging your employees and your senior leaders to engage for you. So just tips around that. You can also, like, the most important thing is be authentic. Again, you can use social listening tools to identify like what content, what topics is actually working for you and that audience. You can encourage user-generated content, so that commentary piece that I meant, like you can ask questions, you can give your unique context and perspective, but ask them to, like, what's their view of that, or what was their experience. So it's a really great way to learn about the people who are following you. I know we weren't going to talk about this, but obviously with lots of, ChatGPT and different platform opportunities, like this can be a great thought starter. It shouldn't be your content. It should be your unique view, your unique opinion, your context, where you were yesterday, when you visited a customer, whatever that bit that you bring to it. But it can also help you get your head around, like, what are things that can potentially help build that content out for you. So tip 9, health check your website speed. So you asked before, like, where do brands make the most mistakes? Website speed generally is something that hurts a lot of brands, and this is provided by a study that we did with Google, or Google shared with us as a partner, but 40% of consumers expect a web page to load in 2 seconds or less. 40% will abandon a website that takes more than 3 seconds to load. And obviously, like, a 1 second delay can result in 7% reduction in conversion. So this really can hurt your business. So one question we get asked often is, why are you paying more for conversions in, say, Facebook than what you see as conversions on website? And often it's that delay. Someone has actually clicked to buy from your social, but by the time that site's loaded up, there will be an actual drop off. So you've got to be able, like, in terms of that final conversion that goes through. So they might have hit buy, but they might not have closed their cart. So you do need to make sure also your analytics is set up to effectively identify what's actually happening on that. So website, make sure you're GA4 compliant. You've only got till the end of June. Make sure all pixels are in place. Make sure you can actually track what's happening on your site. But just doing a basic health check speed test can give you the first guidance around what you might need to do to improve your speed. And usually it's around image size and too much code on your site. I am at the final point, so we can get to questions. Understand your funnel and work on the power of 1% compounding. So if you take all that data and sort of see it, like what's awareness, consideration, leads that we talked about, but then actually review, like, where can you make that incremental improvement? So I want to move this piece of like the consideration, we want to be able to move this from 3% to 4%. Those incremental 1%, just constantly attacking your strategy with that approach, you will see continuous improvement, and it compounds over time. And so ultimately, all the tips and everything that I've shared is about getting comfortable with looking at your data and identifying what is working and what's happening at each of those stages, so that you can get that mindset of which lever are you going to use that's going to create that improvement, so that you're always after that improvement. So you just see it as a funnel. You look at what's working where, you set your target to grow that, and you work on what that might mean, right? So if it's top of funnel, it's generally around the quality of your content. If it's conversion, it will still be quality of your content, but it can also be like the experience on your web page. So you just got to look at what's going to help you get that incremental power of that 1% compounding. So the offer that we talked about has been made super affordable. We start at US $89 a month, 15% if you pay 12 months up front. But like, we priced it to make it super transparent and easy for you to be able to roll out to everyone in your organization and your marketing ecosystem. And it's one of the things that we really encourage you to do. Make data available everywhere. Help everyone from the content creator to your paid media to your analyst, your search expert, like, make sure that they've got all the insights available to them so that they actually start to perform better. And make sure you, if you're in the decision-making seat, have this available to you so you can actually work on the analysis and decision-making about what to do next, as opposed to waiting for data collection or having data held with someone buried in your organization. So the offer with Neal is we've got a special offer, which includes a tailored insights strategy session from a Digivisor digital marketing expert. So once you connect all your accounts up, it's 30 days of data in under a minute. And then, once you've signed up and put your credit card down, then you can tap into someone who will actually specifically walk through those opportunities for you. Neal's also offered to do a group digital marketing strategy session. And as a partner, we can also, if you haven't done any LinkedIn advertising for over 3 months, or you're new to LinkedIn, we can add $500 to your account, and we can do the same to any new Google account. So that can also help kickstart your paid budget. So that's on offer. And for those who are struggling to get to GA4, we also have an offer to help where analysts and specialists will meet with you to go through your existing Google Analytics implementation, ensure your goal setting is set up, and actually convert that for you for GA4. make sure that that's tested and includes also access to Digivisor. So that's it for me in terms of questions. I'm very happy to answer them now or answer them if you want to follow up. I am very active on social. I do walk the talk that I've shared. We've built a great company out of following these tips, even from startup where we didn't have a lot of paid budget. We've won so much organically, and then we're really smart with how we use our budget and paid by following these tips. So we know it works for us, but we've also worked with heaps and heaps of brands, as shared earlier, that actually this is a really easy success model to follow. So Neal, that's it for me.
Yeah, Emma,
Other than questions.
yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. I want to just go back as a reminder for those that are watching. But I guess while we wait for questions, I have one question. I'm sure that a lot of people that attended this webinar are probably overwhelmed.